Hey everybody, this is herculespetix, founder, curator, docent, and gift shop employee of the herculespetix Academy of Comic Book Studies. Today we're going to be looking at Dalston Monsterzz with 2 Z's by Dilraj Mann. He's an English cartoonist. He's also an animator and illustrator. I think he does that more. That's how he pays the rent. But back in the teens, he made his first graphic novel, and that's what we're looking at right now. It took him a while because he had to pay the rent, and it was his first graphic novel. But I gotta say, I'm recommending this. This is how good the story is that there's stylistic things that he does with his art that I really don't like. There's certain ways he draws faces that I really hate. And yet the story was so good. I had a great time reading this last night. I was just like, I can overlook these, stylistic idiosyncrasies. Wait, is that a word? Idiosyncrasies? Okay, you could probably figure out what I'm trying to say here. But, you can see some of it here. These pointy noses. It reminds me of Johnny Ryan, the main character from Angry Youth Comics. I can't remember his name right now. And characters have weird lips and stuff, and it's not cool looking to me. Yet there's a lot of cool looking stuff in here, and mostly the monsters he draws. So this is a really interesting, bizarre scenario where there's a part of London, I believe London, called Dalston. It seems like it's probably not the better part of London. It's like the Bronx or something of London. I just want to show this real quick. It's pretty thin, but it's big. It's a very well-made and beautiful hardcover from No Brow. So it's this crazy world. Just showing the end papers here. These are just panels from the comic. Nothing fancy for the end papers. I'll get into the plot in a second. Let's just get through these pages. We have little dedications to his friends and whatever. Some people that he knows. Oh, here it is. Sorry, 2017, guys, this came out. Here's the title page. I love this monster here. So some things about his art I like a lot. Very imaginative, but just certain little stylistic things he does with the main characters I really do not like. It's not visually appealing at all. So we start off very cryptically. We see this kind of a maze. And we see this guy who looks like a salary man. He's, an office worker. And he's running through this maze. He's obviously panicked. He's trying to escape something. And then we hear, rah! Well, I'm sorry, I shouldn't mention this. We see a monster foot. The monster has found this guy in this labyrinth. And then we see people are watching this on multiple screens. And they all start booing. And we realize that this is some kind of blood sport. People pay, rich people, pay to watch these poor, low-level workers trying to escape these monsters. And usually they don't, and they get eaten. And we see all these rich types. And they're like, oh, the beast is getting slower, weaker. You got to keep this exciting. And he's talking to the guy who is running this whole thing. We don't see his face. He says, don't fret, I have a plan. Now we cut away. We see a youth detention center, kind of like a juvie situation. And we meet our protagonist, Roshan. Or Roche, as his friends call him. Now right off the bat, I was just I thought it was a woman by the way he draws his lips. Not that it's a bad thing, but I hate that face. The way he draws his lips. And then his buddy comes to pick him up. He's just been released after I think 2 years, maybe 6 months, whatever. When you're 16, it's a long time, no matter how long you spend in juvie. And now we meet his friend. And this is the one with the pointy nose who reminds me of not Sinus O'Guinness, the other guy in Angry Youth Comics, the main guy. Just less acne. So we see from the news reports here, it's kind of like it says thenewszoo.com. So it's like, I don't know, CNN or, God, I'm so old. I don't even know what the popular news sites are on the internet. Yahoo? I don't know. And so apparently, in the past few years, these monsters have arisen. And they seem kind of harmless. They're not like ravaging the city. And it's almost like they're urban legends. There's a little video footage. People kind of know that there's monsters around, but not a lot of people have seen them. And the weird thing is that basically gang members are writing them. It's become this thing where gangs are kind of, I don't know, taming these monsters in a way, writing them. And so gang warfare now is basically like a kaiju movie where all the gangs have their own monsters that they ride and they fight each other. So here we see our first monster. I love the way these monsters are fun looking. Kind of reminds me of like Adventure Time. Just really fun, goofy monsters. And it's a weird thing. It seems like they never like attack people. They're very kind of benign monsters. They're very territorial though. And like, for example, the foxes, I guess in London, there's foxes running around, like vermin. They disappeared overnight. I guess the monsters are eating the foxes. And it's interesting that this whole story is kind of tied in with the real life instance of gentrification. Basically, these rich guys have been tearing down the old buildings where poor people live, building condos for, upper middle class people. And that's when the monsters started arising, almost because they were digging up the earth, I guess, and they were buried underground. So he's riding on his friend's scooter. This woman's fucking with him. She's driving her car, trying to run him off the road, because I guess his friend, who's kind of a ne'er-do-well, he's definitely a ne'er-do-well. And I guess he sold her coriander instead of reefer. She's like, you sold me parsley. He's like, actually, it wasn't parsley, it was coriander. So even though he just got out of prison, his friends are like, sorry, I'm ditching you for a girl. I've been seeing this girl. You're on your own. I gave you a ride from prison, that's it. Of course, he's very bum-hurt by this. He's going like, I thought we were going to hang out. So now we see that guy who we didn't see earlier, who also looks like a Johnny Ryan character. He's like this huge corporate CEO, Vess. He owns like Vess Incorporated or something. He's the one running these, blood sport maze, monster maze, survival games. So when we start off though here, when we first really meet him, he's talking to all these gang members. We see all these very colorful gang members. This comic almost reminds me of the Warriors. How just some of these gang members are just silly. Like real gang guys wouldn't have some elaborate costume or something. That's just not how it works. Apparently his daughter is missing, his stepdaughter. He's offering £1 million to whichever gang or whichever member can return her to him. Because basically his stepdaughter was hanging out with these guys. Vess knows that his daughter was, chummy with all these guys. We see this one guy who really seems to perk up. And he's the leader of this one kind of huge gang. And he kind of apologizes to Mr. Vess. He's like, we just need a little more time. But he knows his daughter. So it looks like, I'm sorry, I should mention her name's Lolly. So he knows that Lolly's hung out with a lot of these gangs, but definitely his gang. So he's got a lead. So now we see a few days later, Vess is, Roshan is, acclimating back to normal life. He's playing video games with his buddy, the guy who picked him up. I'll get his name eventually. And it seems like the friend really isn't that great a friend. Roshan keeps saying, hey, so tomorrow we'll hang out? Nah, I got some business to do, or I'm gonna hang out with my girlfriend. And he just got out of juvie, so he was hoping that like his good friend would be one excited to hang out with him, but he doesn't seem very excited. Now we see the next day, we see this guy with his girlfriend. She's pretty hot, and Rosh calls him. Once again, he kind of blows him off, says, sorry, can't hang out. We see Rosh with his dad and his sister. And of course, the dad's questioning him, like, are you going to get a job? What's happening with you? And the son's basically like, back off, man. Get off my back. I just got out. Cut me some slack. We keep seeing pages, incidences of his friend kind of dicking him over. Going out to these cool clubs, he could have invited him, but no, he doesn't. So he's kind of bummed, Roshan. Now we see a little bit about Vess. So here's Vess's wife, the mother of Lolly, the real mother. He's the stepfather. And it looks like she's in this hospital bed. She looks very unhealthy. And Vess is promising her, I'll find her, my dear, one way or another. Saturday, Roshan's friend actually hangs out with him for a little. We realize that Roshan's pretty immature. I mean, who am I to talk? I have a YouTube channel about comic books. and I review Defiant comics and goofy comics like The Many Ghosts of Dr. Graves. But he's like a 16-year-old. He's still into like cool Japanese toys and comic books. And so we realize why Roshan's friend doesn't hang out with him that much. It's like he's in a different wavelength, you know? That's what I like about this. You know, this story is very fantastical. There's always monsters and battles. But it really is just kind of like a good independent comic. Like, the characters are very well realized and very interesting. All these characters are pretty intriguing. And as I was reading it, I was like, oh, I can't wait to see what's going to happen. So, Roshan introduces his girlfriend, the one from the bedroom. I'm sorry, Roshan's friend. I got to get his name. I haven't seen it yet. He introduces Roshan to his girlfriend. They don't get along at all. Roshan's very jealous. He's like, so you're the one. You're the reason why my friend won't hang out with me. And it gets really mean-spirited. He actually, she calls him an ass. So he's all like, well, it's better than being a fat ass. Because she does have a very voluptuous ass. So she says, fuck this, I'm out of here. You can make out with your boyfriend. Of course, the friend chooses the girlfriend and runs off to mollify her. So now this poor Roshan, he's really bummed. He's like, this is not what he pictured when he, his freedom from juvie. So we see that gang leader from earlier before, the one talking to Vess. And he says, hey, you're Roshan, right? We know you're friends with K. That's his name, K. That's what everyone calls him. And he says, where's K at? And we just see Roshan's face. And then we cut away. So once again, we see Roshan at home. Seems like he's really hit kind of bottom. He's just sleeping all the time. We find out from the news feeds that, Vess Industries employees are missing. Because I guess one of the most easiest ways to get guys to do this monster maze thing, he just takes his own employees. I guess the ones who aren't that good. He's like, I can get rid of them and feed them to these monsters for the, this Richie Rich blood sport thing. Of course, we realize that, I was going to say it's a corrupt world. It's our world. So the Vess and the chief of police are all just like, oh, we didn't know what's going on. He probably just skipped out of town. They don't even investigate because the chief of police knows that Vess is doing this. I'm sure he's getting paid off. So then he's hanging out, Roshan's hanging out, and all of a sudden there's a monster at his window, and it's Lolly. And she says, Roshan, Kay's in trouble. We gotta help him. She says they came out of nowhere and took him. So if you remember, the last time Roshan saw them, they were heading to the park, and he was abducted. So they, she tells Roshan that they took him to the Zag. Now, apparently the Zag is a place that's not good. People who get taken to the Zag never come out. I love this monster she rides. So she convinces Roshan to come with her. She says, come on, you want to help your friend, right? And this monster, I love these monsters. They just kind of leap around the city. Like, they can like leap like 40 blocks. Very silly looking monsters. Not very threatening, actually. They're kind of cute. And this gang confronts them. They've got their own monsters. So remember, every gang is on the lookout trying to get Lolly. This is the thing. I think they don't know what Lolly looks like, because they just know that Kay is dating her. So they abducted Kay, hoping that Lolly would come to them. And it seems like this gang doesn't necessarily know that Lolly's the one they're looking for. So, I'm sorry, they do. No, they don't. They actually just think Roshan will lead them to Kay, and then they can find Lolly. So then we realize, just out of the blue, that Lolly is like a superhero. She says, listen, I'll take care of this. I'm a bad bitch. And she like starts doing total like manga type action, like leaping 40 feet in the air, landing with a speed line infused punch. She's just leaping and punching and hurting these guys. Look at this punch here. This guy's face is totally like rearranged. Their monsters are like firing projectiles at her. This gang. I can't remember their names. And she basically beats the shit out of all of them. So she says, okay, let's get out of here. So from the news, we realize businessmen keep disappearing, of course, because this guy's got to feed this maze thing. And now we see Kay. He's with that gang leader. And he says, why are you after Lolly? And this guy says, because I want to be rich. I want to get £1 million. So now we see Lolly and Roshan again. She doesn't even know where the Zag is. She's like, I don't know. I've heard about it. Yeah, these faces really bug me. She's kind of okay. She's actually kind of very sexy, I think. But so many faces in here, just like, I don't even want to look at that face. But I gotta say, I was really sucked into the story. I was just like, I love this world, this crazy world, where everyone just kind of accepts monsters. Like, oh, all of a sudden these monsters showed up. It's just a part of life now. We have a little flashback to how Lolly met Kay. So now Lolly takes Roshan to this fortune teller. She goes into the next room, her granddaughter. She looks like she's a youngster, she's a teenager. She says, show me your hand, to Roshan. I'm sorry, Lolly left the room too. So it's just Roshan and this little girl, this teenage girl. And she says, my grandmother doesn't know shit. I've got the second sight. Let me look at your hand. And she gives him some like prediction. She says, I see a dark behemoth. It will kill your friends. There's no way to stop it unless Falada, she says. And basically she says, Google it. You'll find out. So now we see Kay. Kay's in the Zag. The Zag is basically kind of a prison. And we see other businessmen from the Vest Corporation. So this is basically where you wait until they throw you into that maze. And we see, well, there's actually a couple businessmen there. One of the guys seems like he's lost his mind. He's already survived one bout in the maze, and he's lost it. This other guy is just kind of like this middle-aged, dumpy guy, just talking about how much he misses his family, and if he ever escapes from here, he's going to hug his son so hard. He just seems like a kind of a sweet guy. He was actually friends with Vess when they were younger, when he was coming up. So we realize Vess is a really terrible person. He's just bad. Pure evil. Back to Lolly and Roche. This is kind of fun. She shows them a map, kind of gives them the lowdown on the Dalston. Says, okay, here's the areas. This is the areas the gangs control. And we see all these weird gang names. The Supper Horses. The Tecton Smart Boys. Wick Deep Thought. The Red Eyes. The Tin Sisters. They're just two sisters who kick so much ass they're basically a gang. I love these guys, the Crying Fives. They wear these weird little, like, drama masks with bloody tears. So they have no, like I said, they have no clue where the Zag is, but they're trying to figure it out, trying to find Kay and rescue him. So now we see Vess talking to his seemingly comatose wife. And he says, I figured it out. She's going to be coming to us now. And we realize that this is kind of a captive situation. Like he's drugging his wife. And we see her crying. So we realize that it's not like, oh, she's ill because she's worried about her daughter. And it's like he's done something to her. He's up to no good, you know? Now we see those crying guys. Wait, let me get the name real quick. The Crying Fives. They've all got monsters, of course. And they're on the lookout for Lolly and Roshan. We find out why Roshan was in juvie. Apparently, there was some rioting. A supermarket had been looted. He just walked in there. He wanted to check it out. And for some reason, he just picked up a bottle of water. You know, bottled water. And the cops showed up right then. And he got 6 months in juvie for stealing a bottle of water. And the main reason is because this MP, as they call it in England, this like government guy, he threw the book at him as an example. The newspapers were even like, this seems a little uncool. Let the punishment fit the crime, right? But he just really wanted to make an example. So basically we find out Roshan's not a bad kid. I'm curious if you are looking at this, guys, or if you've read it before. What do you think about this art? I love the monsters, but some of these faces are just so goofy looking at me. Like Roshan with his weird collagen-infused lips. This looks strange to me. I love this 2-page spread. So now the Crying Fives are chasing our heroes. So they're on their monsters, and Lolly's on her monster with Roshan and riding shotgun. And I just love this chase scene with all these thin vertical panels. Basically, it's very cinematic, you know. We're seeing like little half seconds of time. Bam, 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 bam. I do like the colors in this. The colors are very pleasing. This is such a great panel. Look at this. These monsters just flying through the city, chasing after Lolly and Roshan. And then one of the Crying Five says, your boyfriend's in the Zag. We could take you to him if you like. But then he says, your boy's dead, Lolly, dead. And Lolly and Roshan escape. They jump on top of a subway car. Now we go back to the Zag. And we see Kay talking to these two salary men. Back to Lolly. Once again, they're confronted by another gang. Lolly beats the shit out of them, too. It's weird how there's really no explanation. Lolly's just, like, superhuman. So here we see some more fighting. Some more gigs trying to get her. So finally, kind of Roshan loses his nerve. He's just like, you know, I don't want to get in trouble with the law again, or even killed. He didn't sign up for this. Well, he kind of did, but this whole world is crazy to him. These crazy monsters and gangs trying to kill him. And Lolly gets in the business. She's like, I thought you were his friend. You really gonna quit now? And he sticks to his guns and just says, yeah, I don't want to get in trouble again. God, the way he draws his vests, the evil CEO, is just so fucking weird. Also, in the comments, let me know if you see Johnny Ryan in these pointy nose characters. I know the art's very different, but when it comes to this, it's like, yeah, that looks like a Johnny Ryan character to me. So, finally, Roshan looks up this falada business. And he just finds some weird, like, I don't know, it's almost like a fairy tale. It's some old folklore tale. So, this is kind of weird to me, because even though Roshan was like, I don't want to get in trouble again, the first thing he does is go to that MP's house, the one who threw the book at him. He's a famous politician. And he basically kind of harasses him. He rings his doorbell. It's like, come down. I want an explanation from you. Why did I have to go to juvie for 6 months for a bottle of water? I want you to hear it from your face. So, of course, the guy calls the cops. I mean, this young tough is harassing me. Now we cut away to Vess. We're about to have another round of the monster maze thing. These people are placing bets, you know. It's a very rich man thing. I think it's like $10,000 is the opening bet. And we see the three guys in the maze, including Kay. Back to Lolly and Roshan. These weird faces. I like Lolly's face a lot more than I like Roshan's face or Kay. And Lolly hooks up or finds Roshan, and she's like, you fucking moron, why'd you do this? Now the cops are going to be chasing you, and they're going to chase me. And the cops do show up, of course, as they would. So now back to the maze. It's all colored red. I think that's the lighting of this place. It's got red lights. And one of the monsters totally tags Kay. Basically almost rips his eye out. Really scratches his face. Kind of hate that pointy nose so much. And the kind of fat guy, the one who was worried about his family, he actually like totally mans up and kicks the monster. Says, leave him alone. And he says, move, son. Get out of here. Like, very heroic. Very selfless. And the monster gets him. So he loses. We see these asshole guys betting on it, just like, the fat man didn't have a chance. And now we cut back. Now Lolly and Roshan are handcuffed. They're in a police van. We realize that Roshan's very jealous of Kay. Even his own parents are always just like, oh, what's happening with Kay? Why aren't you with Kay? We'd love to see him. He's definitely in his shadow. And we also, Lolly finds out that you kind of figured this out, right? Roshan did tell that gang member because he didn't know the consequences. He just said, oh yeah, they went to the park. So he kind of ratted them out. He just had no idea what would lead to this. Back to the maze. The other guy who won the last round, that first guy, I think he was in the first, maybe that was the guy from the first page, or maybe another guy. Hey, he's got an arm ripped off. He's bleeding to death. And Kay finds a piece of chalk in his pocket. Now, I didn't mention this. It's, to be honest, except for this ending here, it doesn't really matter. Supposedly these monsters are so territorial that you can keep them from, you can just make a chalk circle around yourself. Almost like a demon with a pentagram. And they'll actually back off. They'll be like, that's a territory line. I can't cross it. So, we'll get back to that in a second. So now Lolly and Roshan are brought before Vess. And, the whole time he's just been saying, this is my daughter. And we now realize, this is his stepdaughter. He doesn't give a shit about her. He really just wanted Lolly to bring her pet monster. Because if you remember in the beginning, the spectators were saying, oh, this monster's lost its mojo. Pathetic. He wants a young, vital monster. So this whole thing, he didn't give a shit about Lolly. He wasn't like, oh, I miss my daughter. He really just wanted her to bring her monster so he could capture it, which he has. And so we see that gang member, the guy with the kind of fez. And he has another victim for this maze. And so then Roshan makes his move. So there's this door here that leads to the maze. This is where they throw you into. So Roshan grabs the gang leader. He piles into him, runs into him, pushes him into the door, and the door closes. Even Vess's, bodyguards, goons are like, first time I ever saw anyone want to go in. So this is how, we're finding out that Roshan is pretty brave and selfless now. And even though earlier he gave up on Kay, he really does love his friend. Of course, the gang leader's pissed off as hell. He's like, fuck you. You doomed me to this. Oh, guys, it's kind of creepy. Roshan finds that arm of that guy earlier we saw who was armless. So I guess Vess has taken Lolly up to the spectator stand. And they also kind of tie this whole thing into gentrification. It's almost like the monsters themselves are immigrants. They're not wanted really, but they've become a part of the fabric of the city, just like immigrants do. And they're pretty peaceful for the most part. They just like jumping around. And he explains this whole maze thing. How, I'm trying to make this Dalston grow. I've got to, attract investors from all, Japanese investors, Chinese millionaires, Indians, Americans. I could take them out to a nice restaurant. But this whole blood sport, this is really bringing in the money. So now Roshan finally finds Kay. And Kay's in his chalk circle, so it looks like he's okay. There's this monster. He can't really get into the circle, or he doesn't want to. I don't know how it works necessarily. And so the monster starts chasing Roshan. He tricks the monster. He kind of evades it. And then finally reunites with Kay. Gives him a hug. Kay's pretty surprised. He's like, God, I can't believe you came back from me. I thought I was done for. He says that Lolly's there too. And so they both decide, we got to get Lolly. We got to get out of here. Kind of sweet when even though Kay's a shitty friend, but it's his friend. And so he's willing to risk his own life to save him. So it seems like the monster's about to get Roshan. He's sneaking up on him. Knocks him down. He's got his giant monster foot on his body. And Roshan says, Falada, Falada. Doesn't really make sense. I don't know why just saying that word would work. But actually, I think I'm sorry, the old legend, that folklore that he read about Falada, something about a princess talking to a horse, unverbal creature. So basically, by saying Falada, he can now all of a sudden converse with this monster. And like most of the monsters, they're not really that malignant. It's actually a female monster. She's like, I am female. Now we cut back to Vess and Lolly. And they're all starting to freak out. They're like, oh my God. Because they're watching this on video. They're like, wait, the monster's not killing this kid. And this monster seems to be on his side. So they're going to escape and eat us. Vess is freaking out, of course. He's like, oh, shut up. We'll figure this out. So now it looks like it worked. The Falada thing. It looks like now the monster is Roshan's monster. They're simpatico. So him and Kay are riding the monster. And now Vess takes Lolly to where her pet monster is being held. It seems like it's the same room where the mother has been tied up. When he comes in, expecting to see the wife in the bed, all half in a coma, the bed's empty. All the cords from the IV drips have been pulled out, and he looks over, and it's the wife. She looks like, she's better. And she's petting Lolly's pet monster. And Vess has got a knife. It looks like he's going to try to kill Lolly or treat her like a hostage, And then the mother walks towards Vess. And she whispers something to him. We don't know what it is. He says, Francis? That's her name. And then she pushes him off this precipice. I think they're like 50 stories up. And he falls to his death. So now, here's the fallout. It looks like this is maybe a few months later. We see Kay's got a scar on his face from that monster attack. Him and Lolly and the third wheel here, Roshan, went to a movie. And we find out the mom is okay. She's still weird. But she's got her health back. And so it looks like Roshan has made new friends. He's not just, leeching off of his friend and Lolly. So basically, Roshan says, okay, guys, I'm going to head out. And it looks like definitely that Kay appreciates Roshan more now. He's like, seriously, like, earnestly says, yeah, man, okay, I get it, you got to go with your friends, but really, give me a call. Like earlier, he was always blowing him off, I like how Lolly teases him. She says, you can kiss him if you want to. And Kay says, maybe I will. Next time. And this was, I thought, such a weird, interesting way to end this thing. So remember, like 2 pages earlier, Francis goes up to Vess and whispers something to him. I've seen this many times in movies and graphic novels where it's just like, oh, you'll never find out. You'll have to guess. Well, what did that character say to the other character? We'll never tell. But it's, kind of interesting, intriguing. You're like, what the hell did they say? But he actually ends the graphic novel by showing us this little flashback. Francis goes, when she whispered to Vess, she said, I used you to get her back. So Francis, even though she seemed in a coma the whole time, she figured Vess would do this. She just wanted her daughter back, because the daughter was a runaway. Vess didn't care, he just wanted the monster. But Francis did miss her daughter and loves her daughter. And I just thought really I don't think I've ever seen an ending like this in a movie or a novel where they just show you that little intriguing, whispered, unheard dialogue. I'm not sure if it's that great an ending, but it was definitely interesting. More end papers, back cover here, and that's it for Dalston Monsterzz by Dilraj Mann. And once again, I'd be remiss to not mention this is brought to you by a generous donation from the Archibald Gernsback Institute of Higher Comic Knowledge. And I've been reviewing a lot of his stuff because he sent me a big box 2 weeks ago. So, you know, I've been, I need all the comics I can get. But, you know, this is I really like this. The first page, I was like, oh, I don't like this. Just the way they draw some of the characters. I was like, I don't think I'm going to finish this. But I got sucked in pretty much after like 2 or 3 pages. Really love this world they created. I read an interview with Dilraj Mann. He says that there might be a sequel, that this world might continue, which I hope it does, because all the characters are really interesting. The world is very interesting, and I love these monsters. They're very cute and cuddly and kind of fun looking. They're very imaginative designs. So there you go, guys. Hope you enjoyed looking at it as much as I enjoyed reading it. And I hope to see you next time here. Wait a second, guys. Did I mention this guy's English? I should have mentioned that. I don't know if that's that important, but he's an English cartoonist. I think I did mention that. Sorry, I'm a little tipsy. I drank some co-workers when I hang out after work. I was planning on going home, saving my money, not drinking, but I ended up drinking a lot. So I hope I wasn't too rambling or, you know, insensible. I hope I cogently communicated to you the virtues of this comic. But like I was about to say, thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll see you next time here at the herculespetix Academy of Comic Book Studies.